Hey guys, Dr. Sammy Nizam here, and this is a really nice example of periorbital rejuvenation, and that's rejuvenation around the eyes. As this patient was nice enough to let us send her pictures, and her goal was she just wanted a more refreshed look. And so that is what we did for her. And we combined a couple procedures that sometimes people wouldn't even think about to incorporate that. And particularly we did something called temple implants, and that sounds crazy at first to most people. A lot of people do fillers in the temples and things of that nature. I've tried fat grafting myself personally, and that a lot of times doesn't end up working great, and honestly you get really swollen and keep very minimal in that region. Fat grafting works excellent in other areas, particularly the cheek, but for whatever reason it's just not excellent in the temple region, and that's why we decided to go with the temple implant. And typically when people have hollowing in the temples now, if it's not amenable to just small amounts of filler or we're doing surgery anyways, I have moved to doing temple implants because I think they offer a better solution. They're also completely reversible. If you don't like them, you can simply take them out. Never had anybody do that though. So that was kind of one component of her rejuvenation, was filling in that hollow that she had up here. The next was we wanted to rotate the brow up and just give a little more awake look. And so when we lift the brows, it's not all about lifting up super high or these old brow lifts you see when people have the medial brow elevated where they just look surprised all the time. Especially in a female, we're trying to rotate the tail of the brow up. And for her, as you can see, that is what we did. It's a subtle thing. Not everybody has to have large brow lifts. Some people just want a small result. Now the other thing we did on her is something called a ptosis repair. So if you look in the before picture, you'll notice her eye is actually down somewhat. And so there's something we can do to actually lift the eye up itself. That's not the brow, it's the actual eye itself. And that makes the eye appear a little bit more open and gives you a little more awake look and just more refreshed. The other thing we did was we did a small blepharoplasty, because as the eye itself comes up and this margin moves up, there'll actually be more skin in between the two. So to counteract that, we just took a small amount of skin. And the last thing we did is something called a midface lift, where we actually raise the cheek slightly to kind of frame the eye a little bit better. But when you see all of that combined, you see it results in a very natural result where it doesn't necessarily look like anything was done, but just everything looks young. There's an elevated tail of the brow, the eye is more open, there's still a nice fullness, which is that look of youth of the subbrow fat pad, which is this fat pad that sits right here. And also the eye shows about 10 millimeters or just a small amount of what's called a tarsal plate, and that's where women put their makeup. And that's really what an ideal young eye is. If you look around at somebody who's in their 20s or early 30s, that's what we're shooting for. And I think that's really what we got with her results. So just kind of moral of the story, when you combine a lot of different procedures in a subtle way, you can get really nice results that really mimic youth, that don't look weird or overdone in any way, shape, or form, and they hold up. The other nice thing I will say about doing these in combination is that the temple implants actually help support the brow in its new position, and just keep it so it's stabilized over time. That's about it. If you're more interested in getting a consult with us, we'll put our information up on the screen. Give us a holler. I'm more than happy to see you.